The Byron Cage Show, featuring Supa Dave. Stay right here to watch topics that are relevant to today's issues and the opposites, which tackle subject matters from two different perspectives. Celebrity interviews, life-changing information from some of the leading health and medical professionals, and live performances. It's The Byron Cage Show.
God, we bless your name this day. Say like this. I will praise you in the sanctuary. I will bless your name at all times. I will praise you in the sanctuary. I will bless your name at all times. Say it out. I will praise you in the sanctuary. I will bless your name at all times. I will praise you in the sanctuary. Say hallelujah. Come on, clap your hands, somebody. Let's that glorious name of Jesus. Come on, choir. Let's take it back to the top. I will praise. Now, say it. I will bless your name at. Say it again. Praise you in the sanctuary. Come on, sing it. Bless your name at all times. I will praise you in the sanctuary. I will bless your. Come on, say it. I will praise you in the sanctuary. Say hallelujah. Make a joyful noise unto the Lord. All ye lands, serve the Lord with gladness. Come on, sing this out. I will sing praises to you. Come on, tell them. You're worthy of Sing it. I was created to worship. This is my offering. What will I offer up the Lord today? I will praise you in the sanctuary. I will bless your name at all times. I will praise you in the sanctuary. Say hallelujah. Sing it, y'all. Woo. Say come. Let's sing that one more time. I will sing praises. Come on. You're worthy of that. Tell 'em, I was created to worship. It's my offering tonight. Now, what shall I render unto the Lord? For all of this benefits toward me, I will praise him. Say it like this. No matter what's going on, I'm going to praise him. No matter what's going on, I'm going to praise you. No matter what's going on, I'm going to praise you, Jesus. No matter what's going on, I'm going to praise you. No matter what it looks like, I'm going to praise you. No matter what it looks like, I'm going to praise you. No matter what it looks like, no matter what it looks like, I'm going to say this. I'm not going to worry, but I'm going to praise you. I'm not going to worry. I'm going to praise you. Not going to worry, but I'm going to praise you. I'm not going to worry. I'm going to praise you. So lift your hands and help us praise him. Lift your hands and help me praise him. Clap your hands and help me praise him.
Today, I am so excited to have this young lady. Well, she's a full-grown woman now. She was in the youth choir when I first came to Ebenezer AME Church back in 1997, and she sang soprano. And when I looked at her, I said, this girl gonna be a superstar. I'm talking about this young lady is a singer. She's traveled all around the world with myself, people like Ty Tribbett, James Fortune, so many other wonderful artists. And she's a wonderful singer in her own right. And she was just on a series called Ready to Love. And we'll talk about that in a few moments. But please welcome to the Byron Case Show, Mumen Ngenge, or we call her Mook Star.
Mook Star.
Hi,
What's happening?
Hi,
You are so you done got all grown up on me, baby. I remember coming to Ebenezer and I said, "Who's this beautiful little chocolate young lady in the choir?" She said, "My name is Mumen," and we used to call her the little Yolanda Adams because her voice was so big and it was just so. And I was like, "Wow, she's got an unusual talent." But she always had this look. She always came dressed. I don't care what it was. She's gonna have her hair right, and I was like, so I started calling her Mook Star. I said because she's got this whole thing with her. Mook, talk about your beginning, your very humble beginnings. I know your dad is from Africa and all that good stuff.
Yes, so my father is from Cameroon, West Africa. My mother is from Goldsboro, North Carolina.
And that's something?
Yeah, I was raised and born in Washington, D.C., and I've been singing since I was a child, like you said. At Ebenezer AME Church is where it started, and I really remember the day I met you and just how influential you've been in my life and my career. You've been like a father to me, an uncle to me, a big brother to me. Definitely stood in the gap in that male, category for me. Always honored me, showed me the way, literally told me how I should be treated and handled in this industry. This man has, it's hard to even explain, has shown me the world. There were men that would come up to me and be like, "I want to take you to such and such." I was like, "B already took me." "I want to take you to this too." "B already took me there too,
We traveled the world and we've seen some things. We did a show one time in Florida, and remember they were supposed to start at a certain time, and they had to put me up first in order for me to get back and catch the flight back to D.C. so I could be home for church. And they kept going, and they finally got to the moment. They started the concert and didn't call me, and so they whisked me out the back door. And the promoters and some people, remember, they put us on the van to drive off. They wanted to fight us.
Dang.
That's the kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we have stories. We have stories. So from being on the road with you right after I got out of undergrad and then, singing on the road with a lot of amazing artists all around the world, I started to kind of find my own sound. And I started this whole Disney meets worship thing where I was singing these Disney show tunes. And then I was flipping them and adding like gospel inspiration melodies to the end.
Give us an example, because I know, because a lot of times, this is where you have to know when you can sing. When you can sing without having any machines on you, no auto tunes, no nothing. Do one of the ones, because Mookie's also an actor. She's an actress too, so she doesn't just sing the song. She does the voice, and then she does the one. Do the one. What's the one, Mookie?
Mermaid.
Yeah.
Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? Wouldn't you think I'm the girl who has everything? Look at this trove, treasures untold. How many wonders can one cavern hold? Looking around here, you think, sure, she's got everything.
Yes. See, that's what I'm talking about.
That's dope.
See, Super Dave, when we talked about in the last segment, we were talking about the whole music and people and artistry. This is one that I wish could have grown up in my day of artistry because everything's so different now. It's harder for the artists that are up and coming to really make it. Like the Jeremiah Hicks and some of the other ones have great voices, but I wish they could have the chance that I had, to be able to have like people support that, because she's definitely one of the ones who not just can she sing, but she has integrity and she knows how to be with people. And that's one of the things that a lot of artists, they don't have a lot of longevity because they're not nice.
Now, being a woman in the music industry, I know it's tough all around. So even though you're in the gospel realm, have you dealt with some undesirable situations just being a female in this industry?
Somewhat. But the great thing is I had such a great start where I was really, really covered. I sang and worked with a lot of male figures, and I think just having these men who were also respected in the industry, a lot of people just would not mess with me. It was almost like I would not touch that one because she's connected to such and such and such and such and such and such.
Protected.
And so there was an honor and a reverence there just because of the people who covered me. And I so appreciate that. Like I had my father was out of the States for 15 years of my life, from teenager until, like I was in my 20s, 30s. And so, he wasn't really there present. He couldn't be. He was working and making sure I had stuff in other areas. And so again, to have somebody like B just step in place like that and make sure I was covered in the industry was a big deal. So of course I have dealt with certain things, but I don't think it would have been as bad if I didn't have these male figures, you know what I mean, in place.
Yeah. Now, do you try to forward that protection to other young women you see coming through the industry?
For sure. And I have a nonprofit organization for teen girls, you know,
nice.
So I, you know, cover and talk.
What's
and
the name of that?
Airborne.
What's the social media on that?
Incorporated. What did you say?
What's the social media on that?
So you can follow me on my social media, which is at MKNGENGE.
Log that in.
Yeah, you know, and that's the same for Twitter as well. We don't have a page yet for the actual charity, but I've done a lot of different things in the community and I have other things coming up. So if you follow me, you'll get updates on those. But
nice.
I definitely try to do the same thing and just teach them some of the lessons that I have had to learn, the good and the bad, along the way. Because sometimes you just don't know because nobody told you.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate the people who did tell me. So I definitely try to do the same.
Write a book.
Yeah, well, that's the fourth time I've heard that prophet. So, you know, I receive.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
talk about the things that you do for the community, because I saw your information where you gave clothes away, you gave shoes away.
Yes.
Because she has a gazillion clothes. So her friends came together and donated
Probably
stuff.
still got a lot of tags on it, too.
Yes, actually.
You one of those, see?
And I'm a stylist as well, so I just, you know, tags and clothes from all over the place. But I do this really big event called the Pre-Love Closet Giveaway. The PLCG is what we call it for short.
That.
And I basically call all of my friends, my play sisters, and you know, aunties and everything in the industry, all the big wigs, and I ask them to just raid their closets, look through everything. What do you still have tags on, or what do you have in your closet that may be connected to an ex or something you don't really want to be associated with? And instead of giving it to Goodwill, come on, send it over to me. So they mail the stuff in or they drop it off at certain locations that we have designated. I pray over all the clothes. I sort them with my team to make sure that they are appropriate for teen girls. I make sure everything is in, you know, a level of condition. You know what I mean? I always say I want it to be lightly used. I don't want any, you know, beat up garbage for my girls. You know, so I sort through it. And like I said, if anything is like too grown, I'm like, I'm not even giving it to these teen girls. They're not taking that.
They're not gonna treat it right.
Exactly. And then I, you know, partner with a local venue, and I tell them, you know, what we're doing, and they always are like, I want to be down, and we clear it out. I set it up like a boutique style shop, and I just let the girls come in and take everything for free.
Nice, that's nice, that's dope. I like that a lot.
It's so much fun.
See, y'all, she's more than just a pretty face, y'all. We call her Mookie, you all. Listen, we're gonna take a break, but when we come back, we gotta talk about Ready to Love. She just got finished doing the show the last season on the OWN network, and we want to talk. We want to find out what was really going on. So keep it right here on the Byron K Show. Welcome back, you guys, to the Byron K Show featuring Super Dave. We got my sister in the house, Ngenge. We just call her Mookie. Y'all can call her Mookie. Y'all don't have to use all those big names. But tell me, I saw a picture of you with Michael Strahan. You said you had to sing at his...
Yes, that was so cool.
Yeah.
Timothy Bowman and I, you know, Tim is like one of my brothers over at Spirit of Faith with Faith City Music. We got called to do his birthday party in the Bahamas. And so I actually had another event to do, a birthday party where I was going to dress up like a princess and make a lot of money and sing at this birthday party, right? So they called me and they said, you know, we got this exclusive private birthday party in the Bahamas you got to come to. And I've been to the Bahamas quite a bit, thanks to people like this. So, you know, I was like, okay, it's the Bahamas, but I'm already booked. You know, I keep my word, all this stuff. So Tim said, you would want to unbook for this. And I was just like, Tim, we can go to Bahamas, you know, anytime. So they called me back. They said, do you know what it's for? I said, no, I mean, you can tell me. And they told me, and I said, I'm going to call you right back. I said, hey, I'm going to call one of my girlfriends to be Tiana, you know. And so it was so much fun. It was a beautiful venue. And
I heard he's a great guy, too.
He is. He was very, very kind. Very. And it was great. Kenneth Cole was actually in the room.
Right.
Nice.
That's the level of attendees. Yes.
And Cole is a bad man, too.
Yeah, wow. Well, listen, let's get to it, man. When I turned on the television on Ready to Love on OWN, well, first of all, you own absolutely every look, everything. Let me tell you what killed me, though. When you walk down that stair at the National Harbor, that big gown over,
I saw that.
I said, that's the Mook Star. I know, right there. Let me tell you something. Mookie, talk about Ready to Love and your experience, because that's something completely different. People don't realize how much hard work it takes to be in a reality show.
Oh my goodness, it was a lot. I've always loved television. I've always said I wanted to do it, but this was just like a different level completely. And the funny thing is, producers said, but something about you feels so ready. And I said, don't make me run around this, building. I've been training, and the gospel music industry has been sharpening this tool and this craft for like 12 years. And so being on time to places, being kind to people, knowing how to show up when you're on camera, knowing what to wear, making sure your look is polished,
Even when you're not feeling it.
Yes, being a makeup artist and knowing how to do hair a little bit and being a wardrobe stylist. It's like all of my experience and gifts and talents met in one space. There's a quote that says, when preparation meets opportunity, things just glide. And I feel like that's what happened. I prepared for so many years, and now it was time to show up. So it was an amazing experience. I think one of the biggest challenges was remembering that you're always mic'd.
Always mic'd up.
Always mic'd. And
But you never said nothing. You never said nothing controversial.
Right, but they definitely turned up my mic a few times. I'm so sarcastic, B. So some of the stuff, this one girl came out. She was fine too. She had on this really dope, bikini thing on, and that's one of the curveballs that they threw in. And we were at this pool party, and everybody was hot. We was exhausted. We was hungry, and anything was coming out of my mouth. And she came out, and everybody was like, "Ooh!" I said, "I had that." And they turned it up so loud. And we're really, really cool. I ended up wearing the outfit in yellow in another episode, but it was so funny. We laugh about it now.
They're doing that a little bit. I laugh about too. Some of your one-liners that you had, like when my fraternity brother, I can't remember his name in the show, but he was supposed to be dating you to be exclusively with you, but he went with the light-skinned girl with the short blonde hair.
Yeah.
And
Walter and Sabrina.
Walter. She said Walter thought I was worried about this. He kept doing what I told. She said it could be him and a toad. I'm done with it. You know what I'm saying? And I looked and I said, Mookie, I can't take you.
Yeah, we did have a great conversation in that scene, and I was just like revved up, and I was like, he's coming to tell me what he's gonna do, and I'm like, you can do whatever. It could be a toad. I don't care.
Right.
I'm gonna be all right, and you're gonna be all right. And
but it's her eyes, the way she said that her eyes, you feel told her eyes just got really big.
You told me to be quick. Quick.
That was so hilarious.
Now with shows like that, I see a lot of situations come and go on that. So who is somebody you started off with a friend that you have a difference with now?
Oh, okay. You're talking about one of the males that I was interested in?
Like that, of course, that's the most important. But just period throughout the show, because I know how it could be being there every day. Y'all start off cool, then it's like month go in.
Happen.
Yes, ma'am.
I think I'll just start with a female I have in mind. Her name is Tasia, and Tasia was from Chicago. I don't know if you remember her. She was also one that just spoke her mind, did not play any type of games. Beautiful, light skinned, woman.
Yep.
Yeah, and so the first episode, I always felt connected to her. She reminded me of one of my best friends, just her spirit, everything. And so we went through the process, and it's challenging because you're all dating the same people. So y'all can be buddy, but there are moments that can get a little awkward or just weird, just naturally.
Because it's still a competition.
Exactly. People can say that it's not, but it kind of is.
Yeah.
And so we started off really, really strong, and then we dealt with a few things throughout, and then we picked up again. And so even now we talk like all the time. We're super duper cool. We're respectful to each other throughout the process. Because like you said, you can be friends, but we might want the same man. So what we gonna do?
Right. And being that people don't understand that there is a reality to the situation.
Yes.
Without saying the name if you want to or not, how many males really disappointed you? Like you had, you just...
Two. Two. And I think because for me, if I like you, and definitely if it turns into love, the foundation of it is I care about you as a person.
Right.
And so there were some things that some of the guys did that I felt cared about me as a person that I was shocked about. Like, wow, for example, Frank, the guy who I did end up ending the show with, he waited until we were on national television to reveal something I've never heard him say. I also don't think it was the truth, but the point is, in that moment, he got flustered, but he put something on me and blamed me for the situation not working out, but really he ghosted me. And so instead of standing in that truth, he decided to then blame me. And I was disappointed in that, you know what I mean? Before that moment, we had already discussed that we weren't gonna be together. We had already settled it. It was cool. We both agreed that it was not what was best. And I was like, we'll be homies, that's cool. And when we got on there and those cameras turned on.
He switched.
Yes, and I said, I'll show you a switch.
Yeah,
I'll show you a switch, so.
Now, do you consider yourself a controversial person, or
No, but I have very, very strong opinions.
I hear it.
Some unwavering ones. That's probably the West African side. And, I've been through a lot. I've had to tough out a lot of situations, you know what I mean? And so.
What's your biggest challenge in that show, you think?
Not the 4 B's, the 4 black girls.
Oh, God.
Not the 4 B's. That sounded wrong.
Let's not even bring it up, please. Jesus.
See, now y'all talking like friends on the phone. Yeah, see, me bringing up
part of the controversy though, because you had a lot of the girls on there, like the young lady who was really like almost a stalker of the one guy. He couldn't date anybody else because she had her grips on him so good.
Well, they had gripped each other. They had gripped each other, and I think again, it's a process. So we're thinking, and we were encouraged to just date different people. It's like serial dating on like crack, right? Like really, really fast, quick. But there's some people who came into the process and like, this, I want you. That's it. This is it. This is me. This is you. And I don't want to go through
But
all
the way she was acting on the show was like, you know, if anybody else,
I know. It was quite intense.
She wouldn't get on.
It was quite intense.
But let me tell you one of my favorite parts. After Walter decided he wanted the young lady, and she came out in the pink dress, and he had on the pink jacket, he was like, I choose you. She looked and said, I don't choose you.
I choose me.
Listen,
I know.
I'm just going to slide on back off the screen like.
Listen, I said, that's my friend. I don't know personally, but I looked and I said, oh my God.
That was tough.
Because I said, after he did that to Mookie, I said, okay.
There were some situations you felt bad for my other cast members, I'm sure.
There were times, and then there were other times where I was like, y'all didn't see everything that was happening behind, you know.
Speaking of behind, when that Corey jumped up behind you, I got my Glock out my car. I said, wait a minute now.
All my big brothers said, hold on.
Like,
you're a little too close. You're a little too close.
Too close.
That was a very uncomfortable moment. I've never experienced a date like that. There was a gentleman that took me on like a hiking trail type of daytime.
Got a little fresh.
Yeah. He said he was getting off of this log we were on to go do something else, and he actually jumped on it and got behind me and started almost like riding the log like it was a horse. And in that moment, like, I think I went into like a state of shock. Like, I could not believe that he did it. And then after he did it, I'm an actor, so I said, well, if you're gonna do it, let's do it all the way. Is this Django? Like, what we about to do? Like, paint the picture, you know? So
I like that. But she's like, let's just turn it into something. We're just gonna do it
all the way. But he's a very unique individual, you know. And I normally don't go after guys like that are kind of quirky, kind of corny, goofy, silly. So I was trying something different. I started that process like, let's just see. But so far, these options have not worked out.
Right.
So let me try something different.
Now, do you feel like you have a checklist? Do you feel like that guys just don't live up, or are you just an open book, like show me who you are and I'll accept it?
There's a little bit of both.
Gotcha.
I do have certain things that are non-negotiables. Like number one, I need you to be a believer. I also want you to be active or committed to some type of like church. I really don't want to have to be pulling your coat, you know.
Does it have to be the same type of church that you fellowship in?
Jesus the Christ is going to have to be who we worship for sure.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's a lot of different churches that believe in a lot of different things, but that part has to
So
be
if
the
a man
case.
come up, hey, how you doing? He's attractive to you, all that, has a great conversation, but he was like, oh, no, I don't go to church. It's over with.
He's a believer, but he doesn't go to church.
Yep, he believes in, you know.
Yeah, so the world and the culture is changing so much.
It is.
That's why I'm asking.
Right, and I'm going to definitely answer. And people have all these, you know, issues with the church. And, you know, we believe that the church is not just those four walls. It's us, you know, as a community. So I understand that. But if it's like a whole lot of stuff behind that, a lot of resentment towards the church, you know, there's some type of level of hate or, you know, that's going to be
Don't be against the grain.
Yeah, that's going to be difficult. We're too old for that. I'm ready to have children, and we're going to have enough things to fight and deal with in life. Yes. I would like us to be a united front in that area.
That's
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? So that can get kind of tricky, and like I said, I get it. People feel like the church has disappointed them or let them down in a lot of ways, and I really, really get it. But I know what I'm called to do. And my assignment is pretty large and intense, and so I need that support system, and I need us to be on one accord in that
100%.
in that area.
Yeah, absolutely, I get that.
So denomination, we could talk about. You know what I mean? If you're apostolic and I grew up in AME, or you're Pentecostal, but I go to a Word of Faith church, which I do now, we could discuss that. You know, I can make that make sense. But to actually always be having a vouch for this is why we need to go to church, and no church, they don't just want your offering, they actually want. That's just.
What if they were deep in another faith? What if they were Muslim, but they were?
It's a no for me.
Gotcha. Okay.
No. And again, that would be considered unequally yoked. Right. And beyond that, it would be too tough to, you know, I can respect you, but as far as like how are we raising our children, I don't feel like that argument. It's gonna be so many other things.
Yes, ma'am.
You know what I mean? So
that makes the dating pool small for women like that too.
Well,
That's
there's
what I think
several
about.
things that make it small. Also, the fact that from, you know, this point forward, and actually there's been some years at this point, I don't plan on having sex again until I get married. So practicing this whole abstinence
How old are you?
thing. I'm 36.
So now let's go back to the carnal now then, since you brought it up. Let's go back
Wait.
Let's go back to the carnal.
I don't think I've ever even talked about sex around him. This is so funny.
Let's go back to the Colonel then, since we're here. Because there were so many layers of sexual things happening on that show,
Yes.
like the gentleman who gave the one girl the massage, and it was just like extremely, I was like, okay,
Yes.
this is getting ready to be pay-per-view in a minute, you know what I'm saying? And it seemed like there were so many different, elements and stuff that was going on.
Right.
And you were,
Right.
from the get-go, saying, I'm not
Right.
going to be having sex. I mean, you were saying that
Right.
from the very beginning. But that was not the testimony of a lot of those girls, because a lot of them seemed like they were just ready for sex,
Yeah.
ready for love.
Oh my
They're ready to make love.
And that's them. I have no judgment. That's your journey. That's your life. That's what you're deciding. This is what I've decided to do, and I believe God is going to honor, it. And so that's where I'm at with it. But
Until you get married, that's a long time, bro. Like, I'm thinking as a single male, if I was sitting at a dinner and a woman told me that recently, it'd be tough. I'm not saying I would be against it, because a lot has to come with that. Like, that's a lot of patience.
Just come against that horny spirit right now.
yeah, in the name of Jesus, because really after a certain age, honestly, B, how long is the dating portion going to take anyway? You should know. Either this is somebody I want to fool with and go the long haul or not.
So you don't have a timeline, but you're not doing anything until you know this is who I'm going to be with.
No. It's until you put this on my finger. Yeah.
Until the paper sign.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, though, at this age, I'm not looking to be nobody's girlfriend for 5 years.
Right.
I'm really not looking to be nobody's girlfriend for 3 years.
Right.
At this age, you just should know. You really should.
Well, you don't have any children.
I do not have any children.
Okay.
And if someone deserves a good man, Mookie is it.
I believe it.
Because of her character, because of her spirit, her integrity, she is a woman that when she says yes, she goes hard. Yeah. I mean,
and
she
then in a
commits
time
to
like
it.
this, to find it is very rare.
And because she's beautiful, and she's talented, and she's successful. And so I know that none of those gentlemen on that show could have stood to you.
Yeah, and some of them said they were down, but it's one thing to say it, and then it's another to actually walk it out.
I mean, we're all down. That's how we talk. We want the best. We come like as a male. For me, I would come into the situation with all the positive thought processes I can in the beginning, and I would just hope that I can muster up the things I need to hold on to a good woman like this. Because if she is the caliber woman that can ask us something like that, then yes, we can talk about it and see where we're going to go. Because if my future is bright with you, then that's my goal.
Right.
And I'll do whatever it takes to get there. But I'm not going to do these things for you, and it's just like lackluster dating situation.
Right.
It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So young ladies have asked me like, well, how do you do that? And it's like successful. And I say, well, the first thing is just, it has to be something we both want to do. Another thing that's dangerous is you do meet a guy and you're like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. You have so many things going for yourself. I want to do this for you. That sounds like honorable and it sounds sweet, but that won't be able to sustain us. I need this to be a commitment that you're making as well because you feel like that's what you want to do. That's the only way we'll be able to come together because what's going to happen is I'm not going to always be super strong. You're not going to always be super strong. And what'll happen is when I'm feeling weak or like, let's do our Netflix and chill and not do any Netflix,
so
it's going to be
I don't want to get all of your personal business.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but that's the way that's going to be successful. And I have success stories. Actually, Timothy Bowman and his wife, Breland, they walked it out and they were successful. And it was because they both wanted to honor God with their bodies together. It wasn't just her and it wasn't just him. It was a united front, meaning if Breland wasn't in the picture, that's how Tim wanted to move. If Tim wasn't in the picture, that's how Breland wanted to move. And so that's what I'm looking for. Not just, I'll do it for you, I'll try it for you. I've tried that and it does not work.
And that's rare. What she's saying is very rare because, I know growing up in the Pentecostal church, the difference between the Baptist girl and the Pentecostal girl was the Pentecostal girls had their dress below their knees.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? But all the dresses at the end of the day went up. You know what I'm saying?
Very true, and that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter that you're in a church. It doesn't matter that you say you're a Christian. There's a lot of different varieties of Christianity these days, and I'm being funny when I say that, but I'm just saying you can't even just go off of that.
Well, I personally don't put it to the religion when somebody talks like that to me. It's just if that's your personal preference of how you want to move around, that's just how you want to move, and I understand it, even if it just came from a presence of I just don't want to share myself with people like that. Right,
and people can say that too. It could actually have no connection to religion, but as believers, that is what we are taught and how we are taught to move. It's not about if you slip up or you make a mistake one summer. I'm saying that is what we should be striving to do.
Absolutely.
You know?
Mookie, before you go, let's talk about your new music. You have a new record company that you signed with.
Yes.
And what kind of music is going to be on this?
So, for my first solo record, actually coming off thank you, coming off the heels of the show, thank you. It's going to be very different, B, but it's me, so you know it's going to be different. So this first album is going to be like a diary, like a personal journal, actually about my experience in dating, you know, and the whole like journey to love, but in that finding yourself and really falling in love with yourself, you know what I mean, so that you can really show up when it's time for that other person to come. And so it's gonna be different tracks talking about some of my experiences on the show, actually, you know, just even every song's about love and God loving you. You know, it's gonna be a mixture of things, like a journal, like a diary entry, like I'm saying, like a private space with all your thoughts. You know what I mean? I'm bringing people into that intimate space.
That's
so
nice.
It's gonna be fun. So I would say like pop, inspirational, that's the category I would put that under.
I wrote a song, and I was wondering who I was going to give it to. It's called Me That I Want, You That I Need. And
Strong title,
it's
right?
one of those songs that's just like, it's got that thing on it, you know, but it's really not a gospel song.
Okay.
But it's just a song about I'm giving up on the me that I want to help the you that I need.
That's
It's
good.
about dying out to yourself so you can be better for somebody else. And so, yeah, we got to sit down and
Yeah,
show it to you.
let's see.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I would be labeled under like a Christian artist.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So you would never do R&B?
I would do an R&B set, like at Michael Strahan's party. You know, we did a whole pop set, R&B set.
Too bad the Super Dave didn't go with us over to Rocky Grill.
Oh, the karaoke days. Oh my
Let me
gosh,
tell you
it
something.
was
We
so
used to go over
intense.
there. It was Mookie, Vita, Clifton, me, Jeremiah. I mean, and the people in the audience didn't know who we were. And person after person after person.
Killing it.
She would do, I'm saving all my love for you, and killing. They would be like, who's this? And then Vita would get up there and she would
some
sing.
Lauryn Hill, some Toni Braxton,
And then Clifton Ross get up there and say, and I am telling you. People are like this, what is this?
What's going on in here? They don't even know they got a
Yeah, but
free
see,
live
that's-
Yeah, like what's happening?
Yeah, but see, that's what keeps us grounded, you
I
know.
know.
And we've been together for so many years
No, like,
because of her heart. Her heart is beautiful, it's pure, and she loves hard. She loves who she loves, and I think that's why, Mookie, you found some great success, and I'm looking forward to some other great things that you're going to be doing. Have you ever been contacted by Disney? Because I still
Yeah, I was gonna
wanna
ask that
see you on
too.
the
I
movie.
know. So it's so close, guys. I feel like I'm in the hallway, but the door has not opened yet. But I'm believing for it. I believe it's going to happen, and that I will definitely be
Are
connected
you
in
still
some type
doing
of
those type
capacity.
of
For sure,
Yeah,
for
okay.
sure. I took a break off of social
Yeah, I
media,
see.
and then we were filming, which literally takes over your entire life. So I'm
Exactly.
getting back into that place, and definitely with the album, being in the studio all the time. So I'll be singing and hearing melodies again, and so definitely getting back to that.
Before you go, though, what was the best thing that you wore on the show? I'm going to tell you what I thought it was. I thought I had seen it, but when you walked down that hallway with that orange
I was gonna
dress
say
on-
that's probably my favorite. That's probably my favorite. A really incredible gown designer from Virginia. Her name
Check
is
that out,
Travian.
y'all. Look at that image.
Yeah, her name is Travian, and I tagged her on my Instagram. You guys will see it. She designed this gown for me. You know, I was so all over the place filming, and she just said, I got a gown I want to design for you for the reunion. I'm like, great. And so it was orange. I started the season in orange. And
Nice.
I ended in orange, and I also love to show chocolate brown skin women that we can wear bright colors. You know what I mean? You can be comfortable in your
Of course.
skin. And she did these shoulder pads, and shoulder pads are like one of my signatures. It gives me my Vicky Winans vibe with these slits up
Most
the
of our
top.
flags
It's
are
just
colorful.
drama.
I said most of our flags are colorful. Yeah.
And then it slit, another slit. I gave the people
She
slits
killed
throughout the whole
everything.
daggone season. And so,
But everything you were wearing, you know, I'm not saying that the other girls were not spectacular and they didn't look good, but it was just yours was always a cut above.
oh, thank you.
Every single thing, the black dress that you had on, I mean, it's just every time you came out, but you know, that's what I'm used to seeing. Even looking at you today, this is not something, she's not pretending to be.
I get it.
She is the real deal. So you're going to have something to do.
I forgot what it was.
Well, that's good. Well, listen, you guys, this has been wonderful sitting with Ngenge, and she's my little sister, and I'm so godly proud of her. Mookie, tell everybody how they can get you on all your media, social media.
All right, well, on Instagram, it's at MKNGENGE. That's MKNGENGE. And then on Twitter, it's the exact same thing. On Facebook, it is Mumen, M-U-M-E-N, my government. That's what you all heard them call me on the show. Mook Star in parentheses, and then Ngenge, my last name, Ngenge.
Mookie, love you so much. Appreciate
Awesome
you
guest.
coming,
Thank you for coming
to be a part of this. And everybody, thank you again for tuning in for this wonderful Byron Cage show.
Everything you're going through is preparing you for what you ask God for. You just got to quit tripping while you're in the process, because the process is necessary. You may not see it now, but when he gets you on the other side of it, you're going to see exactly why it went that way. And you're going to be okay with it.
Well, listen, as promised, I got a dear friend, fraternity brother of mine. He is here with us now. Y'all know him from Tyler Perry's House of Pain and so many other things that he is on television. He is the man from Atlanta, Georgia. My brother, what's happening, Palmer Williams?
What's going on?
And you
the
got
Prince
it,
of Praise and Worship.
Hey! What's up, my bro? How's it been going?
Hey, man, God is faithful, even when I'm not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm having a good time in this thing called life.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely, man. Hey, man, we've known each other for decades, man. We used to go to New Birth together in Atlanta,
Yes.
Georgia, and all that kind of stuff. And we kind of come up the ranks together, you know, singing in the choir. And a lot of people don't really know that you can sing. You know what I'm saying? And but you're definitely you're rooted in gospel and in the church and all that kind of the black community. And man, you have just been able to really have this staying power, man. Not just within, you know, church and people knowing you in the services, but I'm talking about even in the business. You know what I'm saying? I know I was in Tyler Perry's very first play called "I Know I've Been Changed." You remember that? That's when he was still homeless.
I do remember that. I actually remember coming all the way to North Carolina to see you in that production.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was really something, man. Ann Nesby was there, and there's a Sheila Stroud was in it, and then Tyler Perry back then, he wasn't Medea yet. He was the grandfather. Yeah, absolutely. And so, man, I just say, man, the history and what has happened for him, you know, obviously he's opened up many doors for other people, including yourself, man. What is it like for working with Tyler for like decades? How many years you work with him now?
It has been nothing short of a blessing and a small miracle. I just thank God that he was able to use Tyler Perry to be able to even bless my family. I mean, it's amazing the journey that it has taken. And what's even more amazing, and Brother Cage, you didn't really tell all of the history of you and I as far as with New Birth. That very same Byron Cage right there that you're seeing on your screen also enabled me to be able to do a production with him at the actual, now imploded Georgia Dome. New Birth was one of the first churches to ever actually have a large stadium and holding Easter services. Nice. And Brother Cage and I had dinner, and he started writing ideas on the little small napkins at the table while we were eating.
He did that to me.
And we put all of that together, had ideas. We just said, yeah, man, maybe we can do this. Maybe we can do this. It's like, man, I want Jesus to come out on a Harley motorcycle. I'm like, what? So I'm like, okay, I'm going to listen to you because he's a visionary. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be different. And the fact that, you know, Byron had just purchased, I think, Harley Davidson at the time. And I guess he was still just stuck on Harley. And sure enough, we had 6 or 7 Harley Davidsons roll up in the Georgia Dome. And I was playing a gentleman that was telling the young people at the park while I was cleaning up the park about the whole story of Jesus. Well, we did it in a modern day adaptation. And when I tell you, when that first Harley revved up in that hallway and you could hear it rumble through the entire Georgia Dome, it was like, wow, are y'all really doing this? And when the guy that was portraying Jesus took his helmet off, you would think it was Michael Jackson.
You're right, right.
It was like the most amazing applause, and it made the front paper of the AJC. Yeah. And then we did something even more phenomenal the next year. He had me doing something else, and I actually played Jesus. And we had he had the character of Jesus flying across the ceiling of the Georgia Dome. First of all, I would have never played Jesus if we was talking about doing that. Because when I tell you that was so high, but our Jesus was so tickled and so excited about doing it. He was smiling and doing like this while he going to glory coming out of the tomb. But when I tell you the impact that you've had on my life and my creativity and knowing that nothing is outside the boundaries of the mind if you can recreate it in the flesh. And you have taught me to not be afraid and to go for it, especially if you have the ways and means to make it happen. And I tell you, those 2 Easters by far are probably the best Easters that I've really, really enjoyed. Stressed the heck out at the same time, but at the same time felt such a sense of accomplishment, because when I saw him flying and I was supposed to still be in character, I just burst into tears because it was like, I know he knows and I know how much stress it was to make that happen and to see it come to full fruition. That was just amazing. But you know, as far as your question, I'm sorry I had to put that in there because I'm just so proud of sharing that with you. And I know that, you know, for life, we are brothers because of that. And even before that, but working with Tyler has been nothing short of a blessing. I'm actually at Tyler Perry Studios working on another project. And just because of, you know, privacy and stuff like that, I can't really relate what it is I'm working on. But, you know, in the future, you definitely will see it. But it has just continuously been a blessing after a blessing after a blessing. And the surprise of not knowing when you're going to do it, because sometimes I only get like a week's notice and then we're shooting. So that in itself, when you get those blessed checks that come all of a sudden. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now, being multi-talented as you are, do you
Condoleezza Rice. But anyway, the thing that happens when you see that mailbox money and you see the money that you weren't expecting, but yet you prayed for, because I just came off a 21-day fast, and on day 23, 2 days after the fast is when I got the call.
Wow.
And so yesterday was the first day. So it's just nothing but God.
Wow.
Now, being multi-talented as you are, do you enjoy producing as much as you do acting?
Do I enjoy what?
Producing as much as you do acting?
I do. Actually, it's more fulfilling, to be honest with you. When you're working, you know, in front of the camera and you have a script and you have direction, it's a lot easier for me, you know. But then when you have to be the person of many hats, it's a little bit more challenging, but the reward is so much greater because, you know, you took it from the page to the stage. Yes, and that journey along the way is where the relationships blossom and are flourished, and you begin to get to a point where this is nothing but God, because I couldn't have done this on my own human abilities, but you know, he's blessed me to be able to do these things and have the anointing to come in and you know, I'm not trying to sound super spiritual, but it just really is. It's nothing but a God thing. And you can still see like, wow, you picked me to have this message go through. And that in itself is just a blessing. And I feel honored and privileged because I know I'm not worthy of that blessing, but yet he blesses me in spite of myself.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this question. How did you sustain during the pandemic? Because I know, you know, 2 years of downtime. I mean, with me, my concerts being canceled, my book tour being canceled, all of that because of COVID-19. And it obviously slowed, you know, our work down. Did it affect you the same way and your family?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I did not have but maybe 3 gigs during the pandemic in the heat of it, I guess, in 2020. Because 2020 almost seems like a blur. Like that whole year just didn't even exist. Like I should take one of my birthdays away because that year just disappeared. But it was filled with a lot of craziness. I had all my children at home because I had 2 college kids now and 1 in high school. So every day having these kids that had independence the year before and now they're back home and I'm ready to choke the hell out of them. Excuse me, I'm sorry, we're on the Byron K show.
It's okay. Every time Super Dave says a curse word, I just lay hands on him and he's delivered. So no, go for it.
Yeah, but the word your hands on him because that cuss demon could jump off him. Anyway, what I've come to find out during that year, I also have a landscape business.
Nice.
So that has sustained me between the gigs, if you will. And I've had the landscape business until this past November for 25 years, almost 25 years, 24 years.
Nice.
I finally retired from landscape business.
Oh, good, man.
Did you do the cutting yourself?
I guess I had to take so many hints from God that he allowed me to go out there and work too hard. And I've had 2 major falls that I didn't break anything. And so I've said, you know what, God, you ain't got to throw me no more hints. I'm just going to get off this lawnmower and get out of this truck and just trust you to do what it is that you would have me to do. And I haven't looked back since. But during that pandemic, if it were not for that landscaping and the work ethic that I learned from my father and knowing that my children want to eat every day, you know, they won't fast.
Right,
so they
right.
won't every day. So I had to work. Yeah. And so it was such a developmental time to where I was like, Lord, I know I'm being a good steward over this landscaping, but when you see that it's time for me to go, send me a sign. He sent me 2. And I promise you, ever since then, I said, Lord, you got to do it now. Mm-hmm. Yep. You know, the gigs have got to come. Mm-hmm. You know, the Tyler Perrys, the Afflecks, the different production stuff that I'm trying to do. And I mean, as soon as I decided, like, hey, it's over with the landscaping, got the first tax refund I've gotten in 20 years last year. Wow. Wow. Because of the pandemic year. Mm-hmm. So it's just, you know, God just keeps amazing me. He doesn't surprise me because I've been surprised so much that I expect it at this point. Mm-hmm. And yet I still am surprised, but I just expect it because he's just been so good.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me ask you, do you remember this funny story, Palmer? You remember most people didn't know this. You were on a House of Pain, you were doing stuff, but in the off seasons, sometimes you would come to my house and cut the grass at my house in Ellenwood. You remember that time that big black snake came out on you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That was a mamba or something that came out?
It's a reoccurring nightmare.
It was. You screamed like, I don't know, man. I was like, what in the world? You said, me. It's a black mamba snake. And I was like, oh, I ain't got no insurance for the outside, so you on your own, brother.
As he was peeping from behind the door. But then he wanted to be curious enough to come out there and see it. Though.
Right. But you remember, I brought my weapon too. I brought my gun.
You did.
You let it live.
That was before I learned about the black king snake.
Water snake.
So that snake was actually safe and was keeping your house protected.
Yes.
Because the black king snake eats all of the poisonous snakes and rodents.
Yep.
And see, I didn't know that at the time because he's about to be dead snake. That was what I was thinking because any snake is an enemy to me. Yeah. But then after learning about that, but I'll tell you something even funnier. So I had reconstructed the whole front yard at Byron's house, right? Yep. We put in some nice, bonsai spruce trees, the ones you see Mr. Miyagi, you see him snipping on, but we had the giant version of it, all right? Had it in the front yard, planted it, created flower beds, and we had these impatiens and everything, and these trees in the front that bloomed out, right? So it probably was on a Thursday. And I think Byron was doing a gig. He called me on Saturday morning laughing hysterically. I'm like, what is wrong? And he's like, man, all that stuff you planted, man, you should see it. It looked like stick figures sitting up in my front yard. The deer came and ate all the foliage off of all those plants I put out there. What? I ain't gonna put his business out there, but it was a nice amount to be putting those plants out there to beautify what was already a beautiful home. Man, they ate everything. It looked like the trees just sitting up there like this. And then they were bougie deer because they picked through the plants on the ground that they wanted, ate them, and kicked the other ones all out on the sidewalk and everything. This some old gangster, like Crip-like deer. I don't know what was going on. They Crip walked all through his flower bed and ate them all up.
That's crazy. Well, I have 2 questions for you because one, you worked with one of my favorite people in the game as far as comedic wise, Paul Mooney.
Who's that?
Paul Mooney.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
How was that working with one of the GOATs of the game, man? His mind is just different. He's an intellectual brother. How was it being around that type of
totally different, bro. He was. It was so amazing because we shot it in what's that hotel downtown, Byron, across from the Fox? This old.
The Biltmore.
Is it the Biltmore? No, it's another one that has a different kind of name or something. But anyway,
because it's right across the street from the
hotel. But so that's where we shot that this skit just before his. I think it was his last televised special, if I'm not mistaken, years ago.
It was.
And we were sitting there while we were waiting on to set up the cameras and everything, and we were watching the news. I'm sitting next to Paul Mooney, and I'm trying not to, fan out because I've always been a follower of his work all the way back from Homie the Clown that he created on Living, Living Color. Living Color, right. And even when he wrote for the Richard Pryor show that only went out for 2 seasons, I actually had the box set of those CDs to be able to watch those DVDs. And I knew that he was the head writer on there. And he was watching the news and he just kept doing this. He kept looking at me like he's on this side. And he kept looking at me like this. Every time he would be watching and something crazy on news, like, this is news down here? Oh, God. And he's like, I just don't understand it. And every now and then he would do that. And he would ask me different questions. It's like, I said, no, that's real. Because they were showing like at one point, like a cow got out on 285 or something like that. And he just did that face again. You know how he used to always turn it, especially when they would talk like this. Talking about certain communities, but he would do that face. And that was really him half the time. But he was just so tickled by our local news. And to be able to go in and the entire skit in the beginning of that was total ad-lib between he and I. That was a total ad-lib.
Yeah, you're the ad-lib king, though. You're the ad-lib king, Doc.
I get in trouble for it.
Yeah, I got the backtrack.
I like doing it. I like catching people off guard, to be honest. Right. You had a second question, though.
Yeah, I got to backtrack a little bit. You cut your own grass as a...
What you say?
So you've been cutting grass for 25 years straight?
Yeah, 1 year short, 24.
So even in your success, you were still cutting grass?
Oh, yeah, because my children were watching me every day.
That's pretty dope.
For one thing. And it showed a work ethic. My father was my first principal and my mother was my first grade teacher. And in doing so, we lived on the campus. It was a Presbyterian church school that was moved from Maine on the rail tracks, as they call them, the rail cars, which is basically a train, and reconstructed by horse and carriage, which was before the 18-wheelers back in like 1891. They moved it down to Camden, Alabama. And my mother and father during the 50s and 60s, he was the principal as well as he was this custodian, he was the groundskeeper. And that's when I would see my father in shirt and tie, take his jacket off, jump on the tractor and bush hog, if those in the country are enough to know what a bush hog is, go and cut the entire campus. And what was even more fun, this is what I can still remember as a child, we would actually have these little cricket buckets. And after he cut the grass, crickets were just jumping everywhere. And they were like huge. And we would catch the crickets for my dad because we would go fishing probably a couple of days later. So just in just small things in my childhood that means so much to me, and then watching my father and being so proud of the fact that that's my daddy. He's running the school, he's cutting the grass, he's painting, he's doing everything. And we live right down the road from it, which is still on a dirt road. And the school is actually on the Alabama Registry of Historic Places.
Wow. Dope. And you know me, I the Bible says if a man doesn't work, he can't eat. I've been working since I was young. Since I had a paper mill, my first job. That's why I'm so fat today, because I work.
I could believe it, because your mama,
yeah,
she looked like she didn't play. She looked like she would snatch the soul out of you.
Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, she told me. I told her I was going to be talking to you today. She said, "Give Palmer my love. Give Palmer my love."
Do you remember the skit that I did with your mom at the church? Well, so we had this thing where I pretended to be this used car salesman, and I had all of the singles that were in the church, and I said, "Now this next vehicle right here, it's a classic. Yeah, you can't just run around and be like, there ain't no quick starts on this one. You got to cruise with this one right here." And the camera panned to her, you could hear the entire church lose it.
Lost it.
They couldn't even hear what she said for them screaming. Because I had all these single ladies and a couple of single guys. And when the camera, because I didn't want her to be shown at first. So I just walked into frame and there she was. It was over.
Yeah, it was a done deal. I remember that so much. And Mother will be 87 in August.
That's dope.
Mother will be 87. Yeah, so that's incredible, man. Well, Palmer, man, thank you so much, man. What you got coming up that we can look forward to for the rest of 2022?
Actually, I'm working on my own sitcom. Actually,
great.
I've written 2, and I've also written another drama, and I've written a movie as well. So the first thing that I'm working on is the sitcom first, where I'm going to be married to a person of a different race with beige babies. So I'm gonna leave that right there. But when I tell you, when you find out who the other race is, and when you find out who that woman is, it's gonna be a really, really good show, and it's gonna open the eyes of the Black and brown community, as well as any other people of melanin or non-melanated. So it's going to be a very, very interesting show. It's going to be really silly, stupid, funny, because right now I think the world really needs to laugh. And
100%.
There's not a narrative out there for the Black or brown people that's very positive for the most part. There's only a few blurps here and there. You have House of Pain and Blackish and things like that. But, they're few and far between. But I think there's we talk about the technological gap, or the STEM gap between Black and brown and the rest of the world, but there's also a feel good and comedic gap that's there too, and I'm planning on doing my part to help fill it.
Well, absolutely. In addition, everybody again of being a father, of being a husband, of being a business owner, he's also a Kappa man. So to my friend,
to the very day,
yo,
and then beyond, yo, yes, baby, yo.
Yes, sir.
Your money or your credit score.
Absolutely. Come on now.
That ain't how it originally went, but this the Byron Cage show.
Right. Come on now. Come on. That's how it is. So, but listen, man, I appreciate you,
we
Paul,
appreciate
for stopping
you, brother.
with us, man, on the Byron Cage show featuring Super Dave. Man, God bless you, man. Keep doing your thing, and blessings to your endeavors coming in 2022. And I just speak that what's to come is better than what's been, my brother.
I know that's right. So I'm gonna hold you to being doing the both of you doing a cameo on my show.
I would love to, man. And tell Tyler he could have had me on something on the screen, but it's all right.
By now, right?
That's all right. It's all good.
I'm gonna put it out there, so don't play.
Yes, sir. It's good in the hood, bro. So
I still got the very same truck that when you suggested Bishop Long give me a love offering for the Easter production, it's sitting out there and I was driving it today. It's a 2001 Ford F-250 and it's still running.
Wow.
Because I remember the day that I went and picked it up, I used that very same money that Bishop blessed me with, that you told him that he should. Right. And that's why I still have that truck today. It's sentimental at this point, but it's still running and good.
I will keep that too.
Absolutely.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody. Again, this is the Byron Cage Show. Thank you, Palmer Williams. And we'll see you next week. And it's going to be a magnificent time on the Byron Cage Show featuring my brother, Super Dave.
Peace.
We're out of here.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much again for tuning into the Byron Cage Show. Thank you to Mookie as well as to Palmer Williams. And we leave you with the great voice who we lost this week. This is in memory of LaShawn Pace. I know I've been changed. We'll see you next week right here on the Byron Cage Show.
Sign my name. Come on and help me tonight, church. It sounds good to me. I know I've been changed. Angels, heaven. Listen, somebody walked up to me and asked me a question one day. They said, girlfriend, how in the world can a brown cow eating green grass gonna turn around and give us some white milk? I said, well, I don't know about that one. But one thing that I know that God's chemical laboratory of redemption took my black soul stained with sin and plunged me in red blood, the blood of Jesus.